Welcome back to Red Glasses Talks. We're talking about beating isolation and loneliness. Beating isolation and loneliness. We can't cover all that in one little Red Glasses Talks, so we're doing a whole series, and you might want to listen to all of them and share them with other people and string it all together so it becomes a unit. And I think it'll be very helpful to you. So today I want to focus on why men are isolated and lonely. And you say, well, how about us women? Well, I think women probably have more history of having closer relationships with other women. Not always, but I think men really don't have a good track record at this. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Why are men lonely? And hopefully you can take the same things that I say about men and apply it to yourself if they apply. But I have spent almost 50 years of my life primarily working with men. So I kind of look at things from the perspective of trying to get into a man's life and help those old boys get going. So here we go. A couple quotes to begin with. The great tragedy of life is not hunger or disease, but to feel unwanted or lonely. Mother Teresa. And then, loneliness is the first thing God's eye named not good. John Milton. And then this one. I know of no more potent killer than isolation. There's no more destructive influence on physical and mental health than the isolation of you from me and of us from them. It has been shown to be a central agent in the etiology of depression, paranoia, schizophrenia, rape, suicide, mass murder, and a wide variety of disease states. Philip Zimbardo. So again, this is a big deal. We're not talking about here getting in church and having cookies and punch and all those, nothing wrong with that, and gabbing and talking. This has got to go much deeper than that. So why are men isolated? Number one, I believe most men are isolated because they think to be real and to be a real man, you got to be alone. To be real and to be a real man, you got to be alone. I picked this up, some of the thoughts on what is a real man. He shall not cry. He shall not display weakness. He shall not need affection or gentleness or warmth. He shall comfort but not desire comforting. He shall be needed but not need. He shall touch but not be touched. He shall be steel, not flesh. He shall stand alone. Well, that comes from a lot of places, that thinking, but it's prevalent. And I know men who think to be a real man, that's the way exactly you have to be. I think another one is men don't share or admit hurt or needs. Again, they're the rock. They're the paragon of masculinity. So I remember years ago when I was playing ball in high school, I had a coach. And the coach, one day we were running a play and I was on defense, and I thought I had run the play correctly, but apparently I didn't. And he yells out, oh, by the way, I forgot this part. So I reached out my hand to block a pass that was coming over this way, and the ball hit me right in the thumb, and I mean within a minute my thumb blew up. That thing was swollen. And he looked at me and he said, son, you don't hurt, just tape it up and keep playing. Well, I hurt. But what we do often is we carry that same way of operating and thinking over to relationships with life. And we just tape it up. We never untape it and become real. How about you? So I think another reason men fear sharing their emotions. That's another reason I think that that's really tough in their relationships, to be real. Real men, in other words, just suck it up and keep going, like my old coach said. Another one is Men don't talk about stuff that matters. So the woman said, a wife said, my husband, kind of like an island, and I keep circling him to find some place to land. So what do men talk about? Let me tell you, it's very limited. It's sad, but it's kind of humorous too. What are the topics? Here we go. Sports, money, sex, politics, and dirty jokes. You don't need a higher education to get that. So anyway, the final thing is most men have inadequate role models. Inadequate role models. And so most men's fathers lived in isolation and were lonely. My real father, that biological father, I never met. And then when the stepfather came in my life, I look back on him, and as far as I know, he had no friends, no real friends. And then as the years went by and I got to know his father was the same way. And so therefore, remember, and I always say this to men and women, but dads, remember your children to a large extent are going to become like you. Are you like you want them to become? One of my friends, Jay Kessler, a great, great man in our country over the years, impacting so many people in the faith, said this: one of my goals in life is to wind up with 8 men who are willing to carry one of my handles. How about that? Do you have 8 men that will carry your casket? Do you have 8 women that will lug your casket, that you built friendships with? I'll close with this. John 15, Jesus talking to his disciples then and to us now, he says, and you are my friends if you obey me. I no longer call you slaves. This is verse 14. For a master doesn't confide in his slaves. Now I call you my friends. And I was reading that passage a while ago, and I was thinking, what a great thing to be able to say now and someday later. Yep. You want to know about me? I was a friend of Jesus. I was a friend of Jesus.